Now, England have won their first Ashes test in Australia in 15 years to get on the scoreboard at last in this year's series. The victory came inside 2 days in a remarkable match at Melbourne, which leaves Australia with a 3-1 lead, still with one match to go. Well, I'm joined now by the former England cricketer, Monty Panesar. Monty, good to see you this morning on Sky News. How do you begin to make sense of what we've seen in Australia?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on the show, Sam, and Merry Christmas to you as well. What I was going to say was that it was a very tough week for Ben Stokes and his leadership, because obviously the things that happen off the field, and also losing 3-0. They came into Melbourne under a huge amount of pressure, and you can see Ben Stokes was kind of a tired, broken man during that press conference. And then when he won the toss, elected to bowl first, the bowlers were absolutely magnificent in the first innings. They got 6 for 91. They had Australia on the ropes, and then you can see yet again in the second innings they repeated the same performance. In particular, Josh Tongue was absolutely magnificent. So just to see how well as a unit they did so good. It was absolutely brilliant to see. So from just a leadership perspective, how good Ben Stokes has been, mentally tough, bringing the troops together. He's probably one of the toughest captain since Steve Waugh, and a brilliant moment for, English cricket and the Barmy Army fans. Finally, they can taste some victory. They've got something to cheer about after Christmas, and it has been a thoroughly, deserved, good performance from this England team.
Yeah, I think you're right to talk about, how tough it was mentally, particularly for Ben Stokes. And he seemed to have his head down, didn't he, after losing the third. But you think this is enough to pick him up and to kind of reinforce his leadership?
Well, it was a defining moment, for him as a leader. This was a big moment for him. And he's kind of like, I think Australia, he's got to thank the Australian groundsman, really. He's given him 10 millimetres of grass, and, the ball was doing all sorts, and, the bowlers were brilliant. But then again, the batting as well, in particular, someone like Ben Duckett, who probably felt, I let my captain down. And he comes in the second innings, gets off to a flyer. They both, Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett, have a partnership of 51, and the momentum is, with England. And then finally, for Ben Stokes as well, as a leader, as a person who's, been never won in Australia, both him and Joe Root, it's such a, wonderful moment for them. But going forward, it doesn't stop the deeper review after the Ashes is over. We know that the preparation wasn't right, the professionalism, and also selection issues. But at least they can sort of sleep a bit more better going to Sydney, and we would hope a repeated performance as well. Then it'll take a lot of pressure off Ben Stokes as well. And this is that moment. They've got to now prepare themselves for 2027. We remember back in 2002 and 3, Michael Vaughan did that in Sydney, scored a magnificent 183, and he's prepared his team, for the 2005, Ashes, victory, where it was an aging bowling attack. And we're going to have similar variables, in 2027, when Mitchell Starc, Pat Cummins, Nathan Lyon, they're going to be, a slightly older attack. And this is a young team, a young English team. So it's all, good to see that Ben Stokes has got his team together, and there's a victory for England.
Yeah, I'd like to see that you're dwelling on the positives there. And as you say, there's been a lot of criticism about the difficult batting conditions. Also some criticism, though, for the England team, given reports about excessive drinking before that crucial third test. What do you want to say about that?
Yeah, look, I think I've been on Australian tours before, and when you win or if you lose back-to-back games, the last thing you want to do is actually have a training session, to be honest. You want to have a few beers, let your hair down, and actually helps you to clear your mind. So, if anything with, Ben Duckett, it probably been, has he broken any sort of team protocols, ECB protocols, and also, maybe, he needs to learn how to order an Uber, before he's had a few beers, and he can get home safely. But if anything, it just shows the togetherness of a group. They've had such a difficult week off the field, and under the circumstances, they didn't, want to see what happened. It's kind of brought the group together, and they've made them much stronger. And they outperformed Australia. Australia were a tired team. They were poor in this Test match, and it was good to see England show a bit of toughness, a bit of fight that Ben Stokes talked about earlier in the series.
And Monty, you've had a pretty public spat with Australia captain Steve Smith. You're nodding there. You know what I'm talking about. What do you want to say about that? Is there anything you want to say about him, to him?
Well, I think he's sending me a Christmas present, the signed bat. So you're the best number 11, played Test cricket. Best wishes, Steve Smith. And I think the capital of England is Liverpool, right? So hopefully, Steve Smith knows my general knowledge isn't great after all.
Oh, yeah, but what are you sending back to him?
I'll send him probably my best wishes, and I'll send him a cricket ball just to say, once in a blue moon, mate, never again. But who knows, if he comes back to England 2027, I may, try and sit on my couch and try and ruffle up the Aussies.
Good bit of cricket sportsmanship there, Monty. Yeah, thank you for talking to us, and Merry Christmas again to you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well.